Go.
All right. Hey, Tim here and Brad, and we have Jake Simmons joining us today.
Hello.
Welcome, Jake. Where are you
Hey.
from?
I'm from Kalamazoo.
Cool. That feels like a fake question because I know you're from Kalamazoo.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess start off. How are you feeling about the Rick Snyder this week?
Pretty good.
Yeah, it seems
Pretty wild. I did not think that was gonna happen ever. So
yeah,
you love to see it.
Yes, I do. I was telling Tim that mugshot was giving me some good vibes this morning. Just seeing him in his suit coat and his unbuttoned shirt, you know. Just, well, you guys caught me. I thought I was gonna do it like that. Like, you know.
I didn't even know you could like wear a suit to a mugshot. So
I have not seen this yet, actually. I've been moving around a lot today.
So yeah, I mean, it's not the most important thing ever, but it is also nice to see, you know. It's just kind of this like, I don't know. I don't trouble myself with the fact that like he might not ever see a jail cell, but
that's part of it for sure.
Keep the hope alive, you know, in this year 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess have you been working on any music things recently, Jake?
Yeah, over the summer I recorded an EP by myself, like a solo EP, but you know, with full instrumentation and stuff. And I haven't done that in almost exactly 10 years. Wow. Kind of what kicked off my current band is I recorded an EP by myself and, you know, gave it to some friends and we kind of put everything together behind that. But it's the first time I've done it since then, which was 2010. And it felt really good. I'm a much better musician now. So that feels good. And then today I was actually working on a cover for a project. So
can you say what you're covering?
I will say that it should surprise no one that it's a Bruce Springsteen song.
Okay. Yeah. So when you did your first EP 10 years ago, were you in Kalamazoo then, or?
I had just moved to Kalamazoo. I think, yeah, I had just moved to Kalamazoo like the year before.
All right. So when go ahead, Brad.
I was just gonna say, one thing that I think is interesting in terms of, so like what we do here at Middle Music is we're trying to sort of like spotlight different areas and different places where you have, you know, really interesting music scenes, communities of people. So what, I guess I can start with, what drew you to Kalamazoo? So what was that experience like 10 years ago coming to the city, and how did that impact you in terms of the music that you would write?
So before that I lived in South Haven, and just a bunch of my friends, because we had graduated in 2006. So maybe I moved a couple of years before that. I don't know. It might have been 2008, actually, I moved up here. So maybe 12, 11 years ago, which feels insane. But really just my friends moved up here, and I found myself traveling so much to drink with them on the weekends. And that turned into band practice up here and everything else. It just seemed like the logical next step.
Yeah. So did you start going to like local music shows in Kalamazoo? Like before you lived there even?
Actually, when I might have still been in high school or fresh out of high school, but we got to play a couple of shows at Craft Brow when I was not old enough to drink, but the root beer was phenomenal. So I was very happy about that. And I went to some shows at what was that place? Rocket something.
Was it by like Waldo's?
Oh, it was called. But I went to a couple shows there, and it just, being from a smaller town, like I hadn't been to shows like that. So it kind of blew my mind that people would show up for shows and enjoy themselves to that degree. So
yeah. So did South Haven?
Excited to get up here and try to be a part of it.
Yeah. Did South Haven or anywhere by South Haven have local music going on?
There were a couple bands when I was around, and there's a theater which was originally the Blue Star Theater and turned into Ascensions and Eagle Street Music, or Eagle Street Theater rather. So there was a theater that was constantly kind of rotating through management and all this, and we got to play there, but there wasn't a huge demand for shows. So for a band like us that's trying to play every other weekend, and there just weren't a ton of people to come out. Before we started playing, there was a pretty big ska scene around South Haven.
Wait,
we missed that.
In the mid 2000s, there was a ska scene there?
Probably when I was like in middle school, so it was a couple of years before that.
All right. Yeah, and Northwest Indiana had a lot of ska in the early 2000s. So
yeah, it would have been around that. There's probably a lot of the same bands.
Yeah, and Kalamazoo still has a ska band. So
yes, that would have been my touchstone for South Haven ska as well. Would have been Scott Rouse. So
yeah. So when you moved to Kalamazoo, were there any bands that you saw in your early days that you were a big fan of?
Yeah. When I first moved here, I was in a band called Dead Scene Radio. And we played a lot I feel like we played with Their Teeth Will Be of Lions. And do you guys remember the Red Seas?
No, but Their Teeth Will Be Lions played Wienerfest.
Yes, yeah.
Was that 4 years ago?
That would have been 2015. Yeah.
They were I was sad that I didn't experience their original run of shows. So
yeah, I think there was a handful of lineups for the band, and the one that played Wienerfest, I think, was a lineup that didn't actually fully exist before that night. But when I moved to, this is crazy, but when I moved to Kalamazoo, I actually lived across the street from some of the members of that band. And my now wife also lived with them. And, years went by. I think they broke up, got back together, kind of stuff. But everybody moved in different houses. And now she and I live in that house that they used to live in together. Across the street from where I moved in, 11, 12 years ago.
Yeah,
that's awesome. It's a beautiful Kalamazoo full circle kind of story. I love it.
It's very wild, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So, yeah, I guess, do you have favorite aspects of the Kalamazoo music scene?
I think what most people love or originally loved, around here, showing up was probably the house shows and kind of the DIY scene. I really always appreciated that. I don't know. It changes. There's always something to really appreciate about playing music in Kalamazoo. It's not always the same thing. Right now, it's obviously, but the last show I played in Kalamazoo, the last show I played at all before everything shut down was at the Greenhouse. Which is just a house venue over here that had just gotten going. Before that, it was Old Dog. Before that, it was Bells. So I feel like I've played at all these different levels in Kalamazoo, and there's a lot to appreciate about all of them.
Oh yeah, I think Kalamazoo's one of the most amazing DIY music cities I've seen.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, have you toured around the Midwest very much?
Yeah. Over the last 10 years, specifically since I started this band / project, the deal with this was I wanted to start touring 10 years ago. It's been 10 years that I've been in this band. And it kind of started from my last band not being able to tour as much as I wanted to. So I kind of started this, and I started around the Midwest, and I somehow have played, I think, Indiana more than I've played Michigan. Just very random spots in Indiana.
So I guess I know of you've played in Michigan City 3 times, I think.
Yeah.
Where else have you played at in Indiana?
There was a span of time where like I think I'd go on tour like 4 or 5 times a year, and I'd always try to start in like South Bend or Indianapolis or something like that, and it would just never come together. So I always ended up in Muncie.
Oh, did you play at Be Here Now?
Yes.
Yeah, that guy used to live in Kalamazoo.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
I remember I was only there once, and it was the first time I ever had Taco Bell breakfast. So I connect those together.
The building specifically, be Here Now, like as a venue, it's just like it's such a cool layout. You know, obviously there's like I think 2 different stages, and they're both equally just cool and
Well, I remember.
different.
Did you play indoors or outside?
Both. I think the first time I played inside, and it was me. Like the first time was a solo tour, so it was like me, just loud electric guitar shouting, and then I played with a jam band who had brought a bunch of people, but boy, they did not like me. The band was very nice, but the audience wasn't for some reason.
Gosh,
There was a lot of people like drawing dicks on my tour posters on the walls and stuff like that, which I had not seen much before that.
See
And
that?
then when I came through with the band, we played outside. That was cool.
Oh, that just reminds me of have you ever played at headquarters? Or I mean, it's no longer. I don't know if they do shows anymore.
I don't think I did get to play at headquarters. I went to shows there, but I don't think I ever played.
That was because you had talked about people drawing dicks on the posters. It reminds me of there was a night where people just drew dicks all over our basement wall.
Oh, fun.
And that was like very. We came back the next day, and Trevor Coleman.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was came downstairs with the paint and was like, painting all over our walls, and that was,
Wait, so he painted the dicks on the walls?
No, he didn't do it.
He painted over.
What would happen is, and I mean, hosting shows, I'm sure you know this, you kind of survey the damage in the morning. You're like, okay,
Yeah.
this was a great night, but what happened?
Yeah.
What did these people do to our house? And so you got to paint the walls in that case, and then you got to find that most of the time the empties are all crushed and you can't take them back.
Yeah, which sucks. It's like the only thing you really get from it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that just made me think of that as a very DIY.
Yeah, for sure.
Have you I guess when you go on tour or playing in Kalamazoo, what sorts of bands do you tend to play with most often?
I try to play with like punk or power pop leaning kind of rock and roll bands. Mm-hmm. Even when I'm touring solo, I probably play out solo more than I have with the band. Just because I feel like stylistically it fits better than if I were to play a night full of like solo artists. It always feels a little weird. Like I play with 2 or 3 acts that can sing really well and play really well, and then I just get up there and shout at people. Feels a little weird. I feel it works better with playing with bands, but
yeah, that is kind of as somebody who's always been like a perpetual acoustic opener, like there's a few times that I have played with bands, is a lot more fun. Yeah. So I actually kind of segue a little bit. Tim and I were actually talking about before this interview started was one of your, I think it was your latest song, My American Dream. Is that?
Yeah, that's the one that I started. Oh, sorry, you were finished.
No, I was just saying. I guess kind of reflecting on that song. I guess what was your process in terms of writing it, and is that sort of indicating the direction you're trying to go with your latest or soon to be EP that you're working on?
Yeah, that was the other songs for the EP, because that was recorded with those. A couple of them I had sitting around for a couple of years, and that one obviously is, more topical. but that's definitely the style of the songs that I had recorded. And up until the pandemic hit, I kind of had a little bit of writer's block. I hadn't been able to write anything that I thought was very good for a while. And then, just being stuck at home for so long with nothing forcing you. You can't book any shows or anything like that. You can't really be productive in any meaningful way. So it's like, I guess I'll just try to write some songs. So I wrote a ton of songs, and that song came from that kind of writing spurt there. And I just felt really inspired to get this stuff together and put it out.
Yeah. So do you feel like the rest of those songs, do they have like a different vibe from your previous work?
I wrote these songs at different times, but mostly all to kind of fit together in this style with an EP that we put out in 2013 called Them and Them and Us. And I wrote it to be kind of a companion piece to that EP. And it's going to be called Them and Them and Us Again, which is one of the songs on this next EP. So yeah, it's kind of in the style of a record we wrote in 2013.
Cool. So do you have a plan for when it's coming out?
Absolutely not. It's all mixed. It's sitting there, but I'm like, do I want to release these songs when I can't play shows behind them? And like, we haven't practiced as a band in almost a year now.
Wow.
So it's like, if the band does want to play these songs with me, we got to take the time to learn those and all that. And that's going to be an undertaking too. So it's like, I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to release. I'm thinking of kind of putting it out song by song over the next couple months, but I also want to, put out actual physical copies of it. So.
Yeah. Do you have plans for how you're gonna, what kind of, is it going on vinyl, or do you know how you're putting it out physically?
No, not yet. We never put out that first EP on vinyl. So I've kind of been tinkering with the idea of putting the original EP on one side and this new one on another side of vinyl, probably cassettes too, same thing. That's about as far as I've gotten. It's just thinking about it.
Yeah. So I guess for songwriting, this is something Brad usually asks. Are there particular songwriters that you tend to be inspired or influenced by?
I don't know. Probably, but I haven't, been conscious of it specifically. I feel like one of the things that pulled me out of the slump that I was in this year was listening to a lot of Deer Tick. Before, it's been like the Hold Steady or Ted Leo or, oh good, my battery's about to die. Sorry, I got to plug in my phone.
Okay.
Did that work? It did. All right. I had a full battery like right before we started this, so that's good. That's fun.
All right. So Ted Leo and who else did you say?
Hold Steady. Most recently, Deer Tick was one. I feel like people always expect me to say like Bruce Springsteen, but I've only gotten into Springsteen in the last like 10 years. I really did not like his music when I was younger at all.
How'd you get into him? It's never worked for me.
Me neither, man. I really didn't like it, but I think I had the right experience on the right night, and I was drinking with my friends, and my buddy Tyler put on Thunder Road, and I was just drunk enough that it really resonated with me. And then over the next couple of years, I kind of got a little bit more into it.
Yeah, the same thing happened to me with the Silver Jews. I never liked them, and then it was the right night with the right people.
Yeah.
Wait, Brad, are you into Bruce Springsteen?
Yes. Well, so Tim and I had an ongoing joke where he in his opinion, and I don't I imagine you still hold this opinion that the John Cougar Mellencamp is better than Bruce Springsteen. So, and
Yeah.
of course, I
I'm
vehemently
from
disagree.
Indiana.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not, so I vehemently think that Bruce Springsteen's better. But so they had when Tim had his business equality beat in Michigan City, I used to send postcards to him with like John Cougar Mellencamp talking about how Bruce Springsteen has like influenced his whole sound and just ridiculous stuff. So yeah, but I like Springsteen a lot. I think I don't know, for the reasons a lot of people do. Just got a really good sound, and he's one of the best lyricists in rock and roll. So
Yeah, I think it takes some work to get past that 80s production sometimes. But once you do, like, and it's tough because like a lot of the best songs are right there in that span of time where the sound isn't exactly something I'd be into. But actually, I don't know what I was listening to the other day, but on Spotify they play like related artists and stuff, and a John Cougar Mellencamp song came up, and it totally fucking ripped. I don't remember what it was, but like it was really good.
He's got some jams.
Yeah,
I I've never heard anything about him being a kind person, but
yeah.
I swear, when I lived in Michigan, I swear every time I came back to Indiana, if I was at a gas station, Mellencamp was blasting. I don't know if I was,
Sucking on a chili dog
yeah.
outside the Tasty Freeze.
I don't know what it is about that lyric of sucking. It gets me every time.
Oh yeah, it's insane. It's amazing, but it's insane. Who would think to write those words?
Nah, I mean, just I don't know if he wrote it, if he was a Mellencamp or a Cougar at the time either.
I don't know.
I don't know what era. Yeah. So I guess have you had any favorite cities like that you've played at when touring, or like any area of music scenes you've liked the most?
Yeah. I always have a blast in Philadelphia. The shows are usually good. The shows I've played in Trenton, New Jersey have always been good, but it's always been like really weird circumstances before or after. Like Trenton's always weird, man, in a really cool way. And
Is that where Honolulu's from?
yes. I don't know those guys, but we know a lot of the same people. That's not true. After or before a show at the Mill Hill, we went to some music shop, and one of the dudes working there was in that band. And he like gave us a card or something, but I've never talked to them beyond that.
I don't know them well either. I just have a memory of one of them. I was trying to sleep on a couch in Lansing, and one of them blasting Hole at like in the morning. And
just when you want to listen to Hole.
Yeah, that was not the moment where I fell in love with the band. It did not.
Oh man. Where else? There are a lot of cities I've really loved playing. Strangely, I don't think I've ever played a particularly great show in Pittsburgh, but I love being there.
Is it because of the French fries on the sandwiches?
It's usually food related.
Yeah. Well, I played in Pittsburgh just once, and that is their house shows. Have you played like a house show or a bar show in Pittsburgh?
Both.
Because I played a house show and it ended at like 9:30 p.m.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, it's over. I can go get a sandwich now.
Yeah.
It was very different than Kalamazoo.
We played a house show in Pittsburgh. One of them we played Columbus, Ohio the night before, and went out with the sound guy. We stayed with him, and we went out to some place to get food, and Ben got super food poisoning.
Oh,
So like I just had to play that house show by myself because Ben was like throwing up in the parking lot.
where'd you play at in Columbus?
That night was, I want to say, the Roomba Cafe. Is that how you say it? Roomba?
Yeah, I think the only place I've been to in Columbus is Tree Bar, where
Played Tree Bar.
yeah, there's a tree stump in the middle.
There's just a fucking stump in the middle of the room. Yeah.
That was
They just built a bar around it. I love
that was a favorite tour memory of a 5-band bill. I think 2 audience members.
Yeah.
A Wednesday in Ohio, you know?
Mhm.
So yeah, are there any like recent Kalamazoo bands that you recommend folks checking out?
Yeah. Off the top of my head, we say recent, but it's been like a year since I've seen anybody. play.
Sorry, recent. You can just ignore that adjective. Just
Yeah.
Any Kalamazoo bands.
I've got a fucking list on my computer of Kalamazoo bands that I want to book shows with, but for the life of me, I can't think of them off the top of my head. There was a band, Nothing New, that I saw. I really liked. There was, I think they're from Kalamazoo, but it was a band called Modern Adventure or Modern Adventures. I thought was good. I think Jordan Hamilton's from Kalamazoo, isn't he?
I don't know. I know that
he's
name.
Kicking ass.
Huh. Do you know
Yeah.
Brad, do you know Jordan Hamilton?
Names are familiar, but
he just did an Audio Tree session like this week. I think it's cello he plays. Yeah, just cool stuff. This is gonna drive me fucking nuts. I'm gonna think of like 10 bands as soon as I get off the call. Katie Needs a Life is one that I'm a big fan of.
Okay. Yeah,
as per I play drums in it currently, but
so he's a part of the Last Gasp Collective, and I've seen that
yes.
times. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've all seen
I
them.
remember seeing them at Louis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite spot to play at in Kalamazoo?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't love playing bells, you know?
Yeah.
Shakespeare's is a blast at all times. I really like playing specifically outside at Old Dog. That's always been very fun. But to pick one over the other, I don't know.
Those are all great places.
Years ago, it probably would have been the Strut, but
yeah,
obviously that is long gone.
That place had probably my favorite open mic night I've ever seen in my life with Ron.
Yeah.
Well, at least the era I was going, Ronnie was performing.
Yes. I think the only time I went, Boombox got up on the mic, and I think it was Adam Danis was doing sound, and he just beatboxed underneath him for a long time.
Well, I just remember Ronnie would just like walk up. He would be rapping while walking up, then grab the microphone and rap. He would do push-ups like.
Yeah. That guy's a fucking performer, man.
Oh yeah, I just felt like he was always rapping. Like it's just his whole day.
Oh yeah. Still to this day.
Do you see him around Kalamazoo?
It's been a little while, but I haven't done much outside of my house.
Yeah, I guess that's been the last 10 months.
Yeah. I started disc golfing just because it's anything to do outside. Not that I'm particularly good at it or really even enjoy being outside, but at a certain point, you gotta get the fuck out of the house. So I picked that
can't
up.
play outdoor shows yet, so
Yeah, and I don't like paying to do things, so I was like, all right, disc golf, I guess.
Where do you disc golf in Kalamazoo?
There's a place in Oshtemo that's like part of a a park. It's got a basketball spot and I feel like a big gazebo or something like that. I don't know exactly where it is. It's in Ashtimo though.
I used to live
I
in
know there are other
Ashland.
ones around town too, but I've never been to those.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, I grew up playing disc golf because our middle school by where I live, they had, they're just like had this kind of wooded area behind there, and they're like, all right, we put up disc golf now. Everybody play disc golf, and nobody. It just
It
kind
is
of like
fun.
it is fun, but it's only usually ever like 2 or 3 people back there at any given time, and then it's usually you're trying to walk through and you're kind of dodging
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. But
So,
it is cool.
so do you think, whenever COVID is, I don't know, over, when we're on the other side, are you going to keep playing disc golf?
I think so because it is something, it's literally the only thing I've been able to do with my bandmates in like this whole year. And all of them are better at it than me and a little bit more familiar with it. So I think it's something that we'll probably do like on tour and stuff now, just to get out of the van and
Oh,
move around a little bit.
that's a great. Are there any, when you're on tour, are there things you tend to do in like every city or in between cities?
Usually me and Ben, all of us really, we like pick one kind of food that we want to try to find the best of on that tour. And we just shoot for that. Like we'll go to, guitar stores or record stores and stuff, but usually I make it a point to kind of book the shows far enough apart that there's enough driving in a day that you really only have enough time to get to the venue, play, find somewhere to sleep, and do it again the next day.
Oh, so
But it would be nice to do other things and enjoy the environments we're in.
wait, so is there a reason why you try to book the tour that way?
I think now it's just the way I've been doing it for so long, but at first I think it was just a thing where in my head, if you're covering more ground, you're doing more.
Yeah.
Which is, not true. But
I have like in my head that like an hour and a half to 3 hours is like the perfect amount. But yeah, everyone like Ohio to me is almost perfect. You can just do a week-long tour there.
yeah.
I've done donuts in every city on tour before, and I don't know if I can anymore. I don't know if my body will put up with that.
Where has the best donuts?
Honestly, I think Kalamazoo.
Yeah. Dude, I looked for like the best pork tacos everywhere, and it's probably, not the case, but everywhere I tried, I was comparing to El Gallo Blanco.
And it's gone. Isn't El Gallo Blanco gone? Oh.
Yeah, total bummer.
Yeah.
There's Que Bueno, which is good. And then this place, Little Mexico, just opened up that I don't really know much about, but I've ordered there a couple times, and that seems pretty good too. But El Gallo's El Gallo. So
Yeah, I used to get the cactus tacos. Love that.
yeah, good stuff.
Yeah. So, do you anticipate like as soon as it's safe and like consider it okay to tour and play shows, do you anticipate like coming fully back, or?
I think that was the plan. And then a couple months ago, I woke up and my ears were ringing pretty fucking loud. And I hadn't been playing music or anything, that thing where you get off stage after a really loud show and your ears are just buzzing and it just, it goes away. It's just been doing that for like 3 months now. So I've like developed tinnitus.
Oh no.
Which is like, I was pretty freaked out for a while, but now I just realized I got to be careful and make sure I, wear the proper hearing protection like at all times. So though I planned on really coming back like full bore once things open back up, I think I'm gonna just do things a little bit more slowly and see how they go. I don't want to get in over my head and make this worse.
Had you worn earplugs previously, or?
In the last probably probably 2 or 3 years, I try to wear earplugs anytime I'm not singing.
Okay.
But I wear the kind of earplugs that like don't block out as much sound so much as give you an accurate depiction of the sound, but make it a little quieter. So I don't know how much help I was really doing myself, but I was trying. But that doesn't, negate the fact that for 10, 15 years before that, I have just never worn earplugs. So I think it's just all that catching up with me. But
I've seen more and more people posting that they're dealing with that. And
yeah,
I get worried. I put tissue in my ear because actual earplugs block out too much. I'm trying to remember. Do you remember there's a band from Bay City? It's a 2-piece, and they had like a wall of amps.
yeah. So I was thinking when this happened, the first thing I thought of was that band because people used to just stick their fucking heads up by the amps and who was it?
Because they played at Bell.
Beast in the Field.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I remember. Oh, where did I see him? It was this house venue. It was south of Vine Street.
I was gonna say, I think they did house shows. I'm like, how in the fuck did Beast in the Field do house shows?
I remember I saw them, and it was so like my body was shaking, and it recreated the feeling of anxiety, and like I felt bad. Like,
Yeah,
and I don't, not to put this band down because what they do is amazing. And it was
yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah, they played at Bell's once with Cloakroom and someone else, but
I think I only ever saw them at Louis.
yeah, I hope their ears are doing okay.
I know.
The one person of that band, I was in Bay City at a record shop and was just talking to the person. They're like, "Oh yeah, I'm in a band. This Beast in the Field." I was like, "Oh, holy cow! I know who you are."
Yeah, that's always a cool moment.
Yeah. Brett, did you have any other questions before we wrap up?
No, I mean, I guess I just had, I guess I just had a thought sort of related to previous to the latest thread. So it was sort of like the idea of getting back out there and kind of how that differs, from artist to artist, and that, I feel, at least from what I've read, there's going to be a lot of, people really wanting to get back out. So I imagine that kind of easing yourself back in is probably going to end up being the better thing to do, just because you don't want to go too much, right when everything's opened up and everybody's fighting for slots in the venues and all that kind of stuff.
I thought about that recently too, because that's really what it's going to be. Like once people are booking again, it's probably going to get hard. It's going to be hard to get booked. Everything's going to be so flooded for so long. And for us, I think the summer before, last summer, I mean, we added Reggie and Katie to the band, so we're a 6-piece now. So we were still working on incorporating new parts into all of our songs. So it's like we just have work to do anyway once we're all able to be in the same room. So I think for us, like we're definitely going to get back out and play some more shows and tour more. It's just going to take some time, make sure we're up to our own expectations there.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting in Kalamazoo of like what house venues exist after this. And
yeah,
is there any way that you think that music scenes might change, or that you might want them to hope that they change after this break from music?
Hope everybody starts wearing earplugs.
Yes.
I don't know, the things that bothered me, 2 years. It would always feel like whenever I'd book a show that I really cared about, like 3 other shows would pop up on the same night.
Oh.
Like, fuck, man. Which is like, it's a bummer for all of us in our respective shows that are putting things together. There's like so much competition, and it's phenomenal for the people going to shows. You just bounce around and have 4 different experiences in a night. But I don't think I necessarily would want that to change.
I think that's a uniquely Kalamazoo.
Yeah, that is something I thought about too, because I was watching this documentary on Studio 54 on Netflix, which was pretty cool. And it made me think about like a lot of these spaces, you know, just and especially like a lot of these you know, house venues and these different little kind of corner bars, you know, that, you know, might play once and, you know, and never go to again, you know, type of thing. And it's just all of these different spaces where, especially in a city like Kalamazoo, where you're just used to being able to go to 3 or 4 shows in a night, and you
Yeah.
don't. And so I hope, I guess, that people just, you know, they appreciate it a little bit more. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, that's probably where I would go with it too. I mean, I've played so many shows to a handful of people. I think if I were to hope for anything coming out of this, it would just be for people to appreciate the fact that live music and live art is happening a little bit more, you know. And I think they will. I think people are going to be so fucking fed up with Netflix and Hulu and probably not HBO Max because that fucking rules.
Oh my!
But
Did you watch?
everything else that they're
Did you watch The
What's that?
Watchmen?
yeah, that was like one of the first things we watched. It's so good.
Yeah, I got my buddy's account, so I don't pay for it. But holy cow, that show's amazing. But yeah, I mean, I think
we got it to watch Wonder Woman, but like since we got it, it's like we haven't stopped watching it. There's so many good shows on there.
But yeah,
I think once people are able to, I think they will appreciate the fact that there's more to do outside of watching TV.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen a dozen memes about what, like, you know, it was common in 2018. People would say, "Oh, I'll probably go to your show," but they stay home and watch Netflix, and
yeah,
you know, it'll be like, does it last for a month that people are excited to see music again, or maybe it changes the culture? I'm not sure. Well, no one knows.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. I guess I think sometimes where it's like I'm hoping it, and I don't know if you have the same hope, but like, you know, you just kind of walk in there and it's almost like no time has passed. You're like, oh yeah, you know, even if it's like a not that great of a show, it's still a show, you know.
I wouldn't give to go to just the shittiest fucking most awkward house show right now. Like the kind of shit that I've played that I've just been like, why are these people sticking around? These couple of people. Like, I want to be those people now. But the other side of it too is like, I was talking to my wife today about, it's like, are people even going to know how to fucking interact with each other once we're able to be around our friends again? Like, I feel this is the most I've talked to anybody that isn't Lauren in like a month or two now.
No, you know, it was like a week or two ago. I stopped to get some beer at a liquor store, and a guy I know from like a band around here was just like, "Oh, hey, dude, how's it going?" And I kind of just looked at him and was like, "Hey," and then I was like, "I know this guy." I just like, I froze and forgot.
Yeah. I've had the exact same experience at the grocery store on the corner a couple times now.
Yeah, and I mean, I like have this idea in my mind of like going to see like the Plurals in Lansing and like seeing all those folks that I love there, and it being this amazing time. And I hope that's true. I think it will be true, but who knows? I might show up and be like, "Hey, what's up?"
But even
it's
that
11
though,
p.m. The show should be over by now.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just really think like once it's actually there, you can finally do it. It's like we made it. It's even if the show's not that good, you know.
Do you think it's possible for shows to start earlier?
Yes.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I think that would be nice. As I'm getting older, I appreciate those shows a lot more.
How does that how does that become a thing? Like, why do the shows have to start at either 9 p.m. or 10 p.m.?
I don't know. When I was younger, it made sense to me. It does. I mean, not that it doesn't make sense now, but I wish the shows would start at like 7.
Well, I think
Like I'm ready to get going at 7, man.
Yeah.
well, I think a lot of it was, I don't know. I guess it's the age groups of people doing it. You know, I think that's because I know you know think back. It's like, yeah, I know, was it that big of a deal to stay out till 2, 3, 4? Like just nobody
Yeah.
cares, you know. But then once it's like, yeah, you know, you're not all of your audience is going to want to do that. But then again, maybe that's just like the house shows. It's just you know, some 20-year-olds move into the Vine neighborhood for the first time, and they're like, hey, let's throw
Yeah,
shows.
yeah.
Have it start at midnight, but then they don't know about their neighbors, you know, calling the police and then get cut down. So that is a lesson that I have to learn too.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine some of those Kalamazoo house show experiences now of like, you know, like a lot of those basements you'd get what 30 to someone gets 50 to 80 people in there. And like after almost a year of expecting 6 or more feet apart, like
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
like what's
That's
that
gonna be
be
wild.
like?
Just covered in the sweat of other people. Like I've been really, really cautious through this whole thing because I have asthma, and it just scares the shit out of me. And like I've been really cautious, like to the point of like, you know, like spraying down my groceries with alcohol after I get them, that kind of stuff. And I don't know how to get back to the place where I'm like, you know, using those grungy ass microphones and clubs. And like, it was almost a point of pride that I was afraid to use no nasty dive bar like bathroom. It did not scare me. I would do it. Like fucking gas station chili dogs on the way to the show. Like I'll never do that shit again.
You think like the act of touring is just like spreading germs around the Midwest.
Yeah. It's so gross. And there's no way to get around it.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing, but yeah.
Yeah.
But I can like imagine like outdoor shows and well, I hope in the summer, but because it's kind of more spaced out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it'll be interesting if there's some people that just don't return to like, I don't know, basements or like packed crowds.
I think that's likely. And it's gonna be weird. Like you're not gonna get the same kind of energy from people all spaced apart either. You know? And also like how do you even make money as a musician anymore? It's shows. And if people aren't enjoying shows as much, like I don't know.
Are you part of that DIY tour booking Facebook group?
Yes.
How have you liked that whole Bandcamp for Spotify shitstorm?
I've mostly tuned it out. I mean, there's every now and again there's something that will pop up, and you read through the comments and you just I don't know. Like I understand why all of us do and should hate Spotify as artists.
Yeah.
But like it's not going anywhere. So
yeah, I think it was like Christmas week where I'm off work and I'm at home. I probably spent like 5 hours. It was a bad use of my life. I just wrote and I was intrigued by it because I logged into my old band's Bandcamp for the first time, and I saw that we had like over 10,000 streams and like 8 sales. And maybe that's because no one liked us, whatever. But I was like, well, I wasn't making money off of Bandcamp either.
yeah.
Have you had
that? No, like I think for a while that's just you put out a record and that's where you put it. You put it on Bandcamp and you sell the physical copies and that's where it exists. But that was kind of pre-Spotify, you know? And Bandcamp is still great, but I don't think that's where most people are listening to music. So I don't know, like the newest song I put out, I haven't even put on Bandcamp yet. I probably will once it comes out with the other songs. But right now it only exists on those regular streaming platforms like Spotify and Apple and that kind of stuff.
And I agree. There's issues with I don't know how Spotify figures out how to pay people more, but I've listened to that song at least a dozen times because Spotify is easy. It's a well-designed program.
It's that's it. It really is just a well-designed. I found so much music that I love in the last 3 or 4 years just because Spotify has recommended it to me. And that doesn't feel very good to say, but I mean, it's true.
Oh, I've had the same experience. I've found some favorite bands from there, and I hope they figure out how to compensate better. I think I made $8 from Spotify last year.
Oh yeah, dude. Like, there's just not. You don't put the music up because you think you're going to make money off of it. I'll say that. But then again, like similarly, we've never made a ton of money from Spotify or Bandcamp either.
Yeah, well, it's even like you put out a vinyl or I'd say like 15 years ago, putting out a CD was a way to make money because it cost.
Yeah.
It was a low cost and people like CDs. Now, like, I don't know, outside of shows or T-shirts, I don't know how bands make money unless they get huge.
T-shirts above all else, man. Like, I think specific people are very interested in vinyl, but it's like you gotta impress them with the music first. You gotta have a good show, a good enough show for them to want to buy something. And if they like the songs enough, it'll probably be the vinyl. But if you just have a good T-shirt design, people like cool T-shirts.
Yeah, and actually, I have one of your T-shirts with the skeleton. It's a cool design.
Yeah.
Have you had like the same person doing designs for?
The one with the skull is Lauren drew that. We've had a handful of people do designs for us over the years, but Lauren's done a good handful of them too, and she's done she was doing a lot of flyers for like Louis and stuff for a minute there in like 2015, 2016, I feel like.
Okay.
Yeah, she's done a lot of our work for us.
Because I think 2016 was probably like the end of shows at Louis. I think. When
it was Jackson Bow booking.
Yeah,
I feel like when she was doing a lot of the flyers there for a little while.
Yeah, I think that was 2014 to 16. Because I did like booking and door. Because I did door for the Wiener Fest, I think the last time that happened.
That was one of the most fun shows. I think that one of the 2-night Wiener Fest, one of the nights was my band's 5-year anniversary. And to like commemorate it, we did a live band karaoke thing and put together a list of songs. It was just the most fucking fun.
Yeah, that was the most fun I ever had working door at a show. So
that was a great show, yeah. Plus the hot dogs were really good that night. Oh, and I remember that they had like the special menu.
Yeah, and veggie dogs too.
Yeah.
Oh. Do you think Wiener Fest will ever come back?
I hope so. Yeah. It's always been a blast.
Cool. So yeah, I guess before we wrap up, is there anything else about like your music or anything you'd want to share?
I think it's good, and I hope people will listen to it.
Yeah, I agree. I listen. What's the one? I have 2 of your records on vinyl, not your last one.
Yeah, we haven't put that one on vinyl out yet, but
one with All My Friends Are Dead. What's the name of that album?
No Better. I've got it right here, I think.
Yeah, I should have brought my vinyl to the interview. It is a really good album.
Here.
Yeah.
For that's our second record, and then the first record we put out on vinyl too. I think the second one's the best one. I also think the third one is right there with it.
Yeah, I love that second album because I think I had heard it before I left Kalamazoo, but it just like it feels like a night in Kalamazoo.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great to hear.
All right, cool. Well, it was good talking with you, Jake. I
Yeah.
hope to see you at a show in 2021.
That'd be real fucking nice. Me too, man.
Yeah, I'll try to remember how to talk by that time. So
I'm gonna work on it.
this was a good practice for all of us. So
Oh,
It
yeah.
was, yeah.
And I was telling Tim after the last interview we did, I was like, this is just so refreshing to be able to just talk about music and
Yeah.
just talk to people outside your immediate household, which is cool.
Yeah, for sure. We were doing the podcast with Katie every Sunday for like I think 2.5 months. And that was just it was like the only thing I did in a week with other people. So it's very helpful.
Well, to think this is a Friday night, this feels like a big Friday night plan.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas, I mean, like 2 years ago, I would have been like, I'm not doing that on a Friday night. I'm doing stuff.
You know, video call, there's like 10 shows going on.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna make a Zoom call and watch RuPaul's Drag Race. It's gonna be the biggest night of the week.
Oh, yeah, that's a good plan for the rest of it. Yeah, so I guess, is there an HBO Max show you're looking forward to this weekend?
The 4th season of Search Party just started back.
Oh,
I've been watching
Wait,
that.
it did? I didn't even hear about that.
Yesterday, the first 3 seasons came out, or first 3 episodes of the 4th season came out.
I only saw part of the first season. I'm watching Miracle Workers now. I don't know if
Haven't heard of it.
It's Steve Buscemi. Well, the first season, Steve Buscemi's God, and Harry Potter is.
Yeah, I saw a commercial for that. Is that on HBO?
Yeah, but yeah,
Oh,
Search
okay.
Party. I loved the episodes I saw. I want to watch that show. So
I'll get into that one next. I'm watching Barry right now, which is also fucking great.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Wait, have you watched that, Brad?
What show?
Barry.
I don't think I have.
It's got Bill Hader in it. He's like the main character. He plays a hitman who joins an acting class.
That sounds like
super funny.
It sounds like something I'd be into.
Yeah, it's good. That one and Lovecraft Country have been my favorites so far.
Oh, Lovecraft was good. I liked it. It was parts of it were like a mess. I thought.
Oh yeah.
It was an interesting mess.
Yeah, for sure. It got very out there. But I liked it a lot.
Yeah, and that's like I said, if you like that, Watchmen is I watched that twice. I almost never rewatch TV. So
yeah, Watchmen, and I don't think they're making another season, which is a fucking tragedy, but it ended pretty fucking well. So
yeah, I don't know how you could follow that up.
Yeah.
There's always better. I mean, it's kind of like you learn from like there's like the Simpsons method, which is just
yeah,
slow fade out, and then there's you just end at the top. I think that's
I watched a newer Simpsons episode in the last couple of years, and it was one where like I think Homer had a dream or something, but the dream was maybe not. But the plot of the episode is like he and Marge got divorced, and it was just like watching someone shit on my childhood. Like I fucking hated it.
I figured it'd be interesting, like almost just a series of talking to people about when they stopped watching The Simpsons. Because it was complete, like, I think it was actually when I lived in Kalamazoo was maybe the first year I stopped. Like I would watch at least a few episodes every season, or like I'd like see like AV Club would have a good review. I'd be like, okay, I'll watch it, or at least watch Treehouse of Horrors. It's been like 2 years since I've seen an episode because
that was our holiday. That was like our Halloween event this year, was watching all the Treehouse of Horrors on Disney Plus.
Did you watch all the way through like the most recent?
No, I just watched like the span of like 4, 5, 6 years when I was a teenager. It's like I gotta watch these.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, anyway, as I'm learning that I don't know how to talk, good talking to you, Jake. And
Yeah, you too. Thanks for having me, guys.
No?
yeah, enjoy some TV tonight.
Yeah,
The feeling that all of us are going to be doing that.
yeah. All right, later, dudes.
But